The 1990s, when comedians got their own Saturday morning kid shows based on their personalities alone. While I was a huge fan of Life with Louie growing up, and not so much a fan of Little Rosie,
Shit!
There was one Saturday morning cartoon based on a particular comedy actor that I never missed, Camp Candy. Originally airing on NBC from 1989 to 1992, the show starred John Candy as Camp Counselor John Candy, both in voiceover
Can opener. Are we not hardy and cunning campers? Are we not woodsy people with wilderness ways? Come on, come here, you.
and later in live-action segments that bookended the show.
Hello, everybody. Today I have two exciting stories about Camp Candy and the Camp Candy campers. Watch these and I'll be back after the show.
It ran for 3 seasons and 40 episodes, and also had a Marvel Comics tie-in that ran for 6 issues. Reruns of the show later aired on the Fox Family Channel starting in 1998 until the early 2000s, which is where I discovered it, and after that it just kind of vanished. Fortunately, thanks to the internet, we were able to look back at some of this show, a small window into a time when all that was needed for an entertaining kids show was a larger-than-life personality at the helm. So pack your bags, campers, and let's head back to Camp Candy.
The flea bites, the bee bites, the bark of the tree bites, the quietness of darkness, the stories told by firelight, the long nights, the food fights, a summer made of memories at Camp Candy. Good morning, happy campers!
In 1989, John Candy was at the height of his movie popularity. That August, Uncle Buck had been a huge box office hit, remaining at number 1 at the box office for 4 weeks in a row. Prior to that, Candy had cemented his legacy as a movie star with hits like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, as well as becoming popular with kids thanks to movies like The Great Outdoors and Spaceballs. He also began hosting a radio program that year called Radio Candy, which featured guest interviews and sketch comedy. So it only makes sense that Candy was approached to headline his own Saturday morning TV show. The show was produced by Power Rangers creator Chaim Saban. The show centered around Counselor John and his crew of kid campers and staff as they learned important lessons about the environment, nature, and wildlife.
What's with the rags?
I found these in a closed trash can. Someone probably forgot my safety lecture. Oily rags are a fire hazard. Yes, I just demonstrated.
All the while battling a villain, appropriately named Rex DeForest III, and his bumbling sidekick Chester, who sought to demolish Camp Candy for a new condo building.
No more pushing and pulling. We'll just knock these trees down and haul them back home, right to my lumber mill. I'll make millions.
There's enough trees here to keep us going for a couple of more years, boss.
The show was announced to audiences in September 1989, in a special hosted by the cast of Saved by the Bell, previewing that year's upcoming shows. Candy himself showed up to excite viewers about the series.
Right, we're still on the right track.
Oh, hi, campers. How you doing?
Hey, it's John Candy. How you doing?
Very good. I just got here myself. You're just in time. We're going to go on a water skiing trip, and then we're going to play a little volleyball and get a corn roast happening, tell some ghost stories.
You know, John, I'm sure we'd all love to stay, but see, the problem is we're due back in school at any minute.
That's right. Oh, I catch your drift. Sure, work before pleasure. Yeah, but before you go, though, I'd love to show you the fun we're going to have at Camp Candy. It'll just take a minute. Here, would you? No, don't. Oh, that's okay. Don't worry. That's all right. I got it.
The show was also promoted that spring with a Marvel comic book tie-in series, as well as a plastic lunchbox and thermos set that I was able to actually track down for this video. John enlisted friend and colleague Valerie Bromfield to co-star as Nurse Molly, the camp's nurse who had a crush on Counselor John.
You fell off that flagpole just so you could be close to me, didn't you?
No, I didn't, Nurse Molly, honest. I didn't.
You can just call me Molly.
Louis Arquette voiced the series villain Rex.
I can't believe it! Candy has gone and set fire to his own camp.
While other Second City colleagues Eugene Levy, Dave Thomas, and Andrea Martin would all eventually make appearances. Even John's two kids, Jennifer and Christopher, would provide voices for two of the campers. So to say that John was personally invested in this project would be an understatement. John Candy wanted the show to be fun, but also educational for kids.
Have you ever wondered how different plants scatter their seeds? They can't move around like animals or people. Nature has taken care of everything with something called seed dispersal. Most plants produce many seeds so that at least some of them will land on suitable ground. There are several different ways seeds are dispersed in search of that suitable soil. One is wind. Think of a maple tree on a windy day, or the last time you picked a dandelion and blew away the seeds. In windy conditions, these seeds can be carried far away from the plant that produced them.
The first episode, which aired on September 9th, 1989, served as an introduction to the characters in the world. Episodes usually began with a short prologue that would lead to John telling the campers a story.
Looks like they're s'more than you can handle. Better get a real pastry chef next time.
We tried that once. It didn't work out too well. It all started at sunrise one morning.
Along with a theme song written by Harry Nilsson and performed by him and John.
A summer made of memories at Camp Candy.
Most episodes revolved around a general theme, such as fire, safety, or recycling, which usually led to John and crew thwarting the plans of Rex and Chester. Sometimes a special guest would show up at camp, such as a rapping robot counselor.
Hey! Stop campers when you want some fun, and the work's too much that you gotta get done. Call Robo Camper. Cause I'm the one. I'm robotic, I'm metallic, and I'm on the run.
The kid campers also all had their own distinct personalities and hobbies as well, which led to them helping John save the camp in their own unique way.
We've got to save Camp Candy!
Come on, everybody! Sekou needs our help! It's good, no?
Is good, yes.
Eventually, new characters were added to the mix to keep the show fresh, such as Botch, the camp's European cook.
Ah, paradise. Ah, Robin, the smell of a fresh beet is hard to beat, no?
Not bad, Botch.
Or Hobnails, the counselor of rival Camp Kickboot.
Hobnails is the name, but you can't call me sir!
Hi there, Hob.
That goes for you too, Candy!
Sir Hobbs. That is, Hobbs, sir.
You can tell that John Candy had a lot of fun with his voiceover performance, and despite it being a silly kid's show, he really gave the performance his all.
It's the camping magazine, the toasted marshmallow. Calvin Pigeon Nose, the famous camp food critic, is coming to rate our food? That's great!
John would even voice multiple characters, usually portraying animated versions of his popular characters from SCTV.
But our car broke down. May I use your telephone?
There's an entire episode dedicated to the Schmengi brothers coming to Camp Candy to perform, where John and Eugene Levy reprised their famous roles as Yash and Stan.
Thank you very much. I'm Yash Schmengi. And I'm Stan Schmengi. And we're the Happy Wanderers.
As someone who loves the Schmengi brothers, this episode was a real treat. It's pretty surreal to watch cartoon John Candy interact with cartoon Yash Schmengi, though.
Polka is fun for all ages. Other fads may come and go, but the polka's here to stay. That's a fact.
So what's my role? What do I do in the video? Should I go to wardrobe or something? Maybe, I'd rather not wear makeup if that's okay. You see, this side is my best side here.
It's also got an original song that I'm embarrassed to admit I find way too catchy.
When you do the Schmengi polka, your dance could be a flop. If you keep on dancing when you're supposed to stop. See? Wasn't that fun?
John would also play another SCTV character, Dr. Tongue, in another episode.
Ready? I'll bet you've never roasted marshmallows before in 3D. But first, how about another log on the fire? Bruno!
A log? Like this one?
Boy, this 3D effect is really something.
while Eugene Levy would reprise SCTV's Bobby Bittman in his own episode.
Give a hand to John Candy, head counselor here at Camp Candy and producer of today's show. Come on now.
Oh, thank you very much. It's really been fun, folks. I hope you're enjoying the show, and
Oh, that's enough, John. I work alone.
Dave Thomas even voiced a cameo appearance as his Bob Hope impression.
We're about to have the parade of floats. Would you like to be a judge, Mr. Schmoke?
All I know about making floats is you need root beer and ice cream.
If you're wondering why so many SCTV characters appeared on this show, it's probably because the completely mental misadventures of Ed Grimley had also debuted in 1989. Ed Grimley first appeared on SCTV, and the cartoon spin-off featured another SCTV character, with Joe Flaherty reprising his role as Count Floyd. One of the testaments to how great SCTV was how the entire cast were great friends behind the scenes, and usually appeared in each other's projects. For the show's third season, John Candy began appearing in live-action segments at the start and end of each episode. He would usually encourage viewers to stay till the end to learn a fact about animals or nature.
Did you ever wonder how fish can breathe underwater? I'll tell you how they do it right after the show.
He would then close every episode with the mini lesson in segments that usually lasted a couple of minutes.
The forest recycles too. That's right. How do you think nature does it? In a slightly different way. A lot of this rain will evaporate, and the moisture will go back up into the clouds. Then someday it'll fall as new rain all over again. That's recycling. This old tree is recycling too. As it rots, it releases all the minerals stored in its leaves and branches back into the ground. That makes it a perfect spot for a new tree to spread its roots. This is what's left of that old tree now. It's called mulch. Why is it important? Because it has all the natural minerals important to trees. You can see how important recycling is to the forest, so I guess you and I have got some catching up to do. See you next time.
These short segments give the show such a personal touch. I know they probably all filmed these on the same day at the same location, but it's great to see John Candy in the flesh, if only for a few seconds. Sadly, after trying this new formula, the show was cancelled after the third season, with John Candy's busy schedule not helping matters. At the time, he had become a part owner of the Toronto Argonauts, and was beginning to pursue more dramatic work in his own career, like Only the Lonely and Cool Runnings. Of the 40 episodes that aired, I was only able to track down about half of them, with some being of very poor quality. I would honestly love to see this show get remastered for a streaming service. Camp Candy remains one of the last creative projects that John Candy was directly involved in the production of prior to his death in 1994. It may jump the shark at times, or be too silly in its humor, but there was real heart at the core of the show, and it treated its child audience as young adults. In other words, it was everything we loved about John Candy, represented in a fun little show that deserves to be remembered.
Well, that's it for today. I'll see you later.